Welcome YouTube fans. This is my first video for this, but this video here is brought to you by myself at bloodypythons.com, and also you can check it out on herperpere.com. I'll post those links below. This video actually is for it's a record data sheet. If you go on the website at bloodypythons.com and you click on record keeping, you can find the document that you need and also the downloader that you need. So we have record keeper right here, and we have openoffice.org. If you have any form of Microsoft Excel, you won't need the openoffice.org. But if you do not, this is a free software which allows you to view and edit any form of Microsoft products, or Microsoft files. Alright, here you go. This is the page for openoffice.org, where you can download for free OpenOffice. And without further ado, let's talk about this snake tracker. I'm going to show you all how it's designed and how you could edit it. It looks a little different in Excel, but it's not too bad. I don't edit it too much in OpenOffice. I usually do it at work in Excel, and then I view it in here. So I'm going to experiment with it a little bit more as far as editing goes. Okay, so first off we have the first sheet. There are a bunch of sheets down here at the bottom, and you can see the inventory sheet, a bunch of red and a bunch of blue. I don't know if you can see it close enough, but the reds are actually different shades of red, blues are actually different shades of blue. And then there's white. White is our information sheets, the red are female snake sheets, and blue are male snake sheets. And then the different shades of blue, different shades of red determines the species. I have the Borneo shade of red here, Borneo shade of blue here, then blood, and then a few other miscellaneous. Alright, so there's a little scroll arrow down here at the bottom, and you click on that, and it will slide back to the right and to the left. First sheet we have is the inventory sheet. It's pretty simple. It has information such as, that's just for your records to keep track of your expenses. You have ID number, which I'll explain in a little bit on how I got the ID number for my snakes. The breeder, the buy date, the cost, the species, the morph, the sex/gender, age by year, and then if you were to sell, the sell date, and then the sale amount. When I scroll down, I already have it set up to where it keeps track of total cost, total sales, and profit/loss. What happens is the total cost is based off of the sum of delta here with all the prices of how much the snakes cost me. Then total sales is based off of Juliet over here, which is all zeros at the moment because I don't sell anything. And then my profit/loss actually keeps track of the combination of the two. So I'm at a negative 64.80, as far as a loss, but that's because of the investments that I'm putting into snakes and none being sold yet. This tracker is going to be great when I start selling babies. I'll give the babies ID numbers, and then maybe the breeder, and then so on and so forth. That information there. Now, in this case of the babies, it'd be 0 for cost, but it would be the amount over here in Juliet for the sale amount. So when this automatically calculates the price, you will see this negative amount start dropping, and then eventually go into the positive. And then it's a good tracker to keep track of all the snakes that you sell. So if you're audited, you can show exactly what you sold, okay, and how much you sold it for, how much you made, and how much you spent. If you do a trade, I would just give the snake an ID number, you're the breeder, all that same information, and I'd use the sale amount for the trade value, and then I would add the new snake to this list as well, and then normally they balance. Like if I'm getting a snake off of a guy and it's worth $100, if I'm trading a snake for a snake, then the value of the sale is $100. The value of the snake gained is $100. So there's really nothing lost or gained when it comes to a trade. If that makes sense. But that will help also keep track of your trades. All right, so the only drop down portion I have here, and like I said, this is a beta version. So let me know if there's something that you would like to see, something I can do. The only drop down menu that made sense in here is the gender. You do a little drop down, you can choose male and female. Just makes it that much easier so you don't have to type it in every time. Otherwise, everything else doesn't make any sense because there's too many variables. I didn't do morph or species because I'm trying to build this to where it's for you. You update your information based off of what you're selling. This is my example, and I did actually make an example one with a bunch of this same information in it, but it's there for you to see how I did it, and you can edit it. That's already there. That way you see how smooth it runs, and you can keep it going. You can delete any information that you want out of it and add your own in. That's not an issue. This is a self-building tracker. There are some things that are provided for you, but majority of the information you got to put in. So gender, the gender can drop down. I didn't breeder, too many breeders out there. You can't have a drop down menu for that. Now you can, and I'm going to show you how to build drop down menus later on. Okay, but you can do that if it's something that you want to do. Let's see. First animal we have here is you see the main title, Borneo short-tail python. Then my secondary title, which is the Latin name, okay, Python Brightenstein. I have a small image right here, and then I have the ID number, the basic information about the snake above here, and then the daily or weekly or whatever information down here. When you print this, you can print just this top portion here, and it comes out like a little tiny card with all their information and their picture, ID number, and it's really nice to have put into a document. Alright, also when you scroll down, you'll see the bottom here. Let's see, these rows right here, the top portion up here does not scroll, just the bottom. So when I scroll down, I'm just scrolling down the bottom information. So as that advances and you have a year's worth of information at the bottom, and you scroll all the way down to like year number 2, the top stays. So you can always view the information, the most current information, which is stored up here. There is certain things that you will have to edit yourself. Okay, gender is also a drop-down menu. We have male, female, and unknown, because you're going to have those cases. The dates are done by day, month, year, and the month is actually spelled partially. This way there's no confusion. It used to be set up for like 1101 or 1111, and you're like, what is that? So now I have it set up where it says 1 January 2011 as a hatch date, things like that. I have a hatch date, purchase date, breeder, sire, dam, morph, for future, lock date, and if they have a clutch, the clutch amount, the hatch date for the new clutch, if I sell the snake, the sell date, and the sale amount. And then down here for quick reference, it's all the last data that's written or typed in below. And I love this option because all these dates here are from down here. All this information is from down here, and it automatically transfers. I'm going to show you that in a second. Let's see, I have it done by inches for length because let's face it, some snakes get rather large. I could modify it to say inches/feet because you have your big snakes, but if you want to change it to inches/feet, dude, just double click just double click in there, hit space, and type in feet. Not fat like Boba Fett, but feet. Look, it says inches/feet. How hard was that? And then when you save it, the information that you look there will be inches/feet. So somebody asked me, because I did the same thing here for grams/pounds. Yeah, how does that work? Because normally it's ounces and pounds, right? Well, people like to measure their smaller snakes in grams, but larger snakes in pounds. Especially with what I deal with, because females got to be 10 to 15 pounds for breeding, all that good jazz. So, I did grams / pounds, only because it's how people normally weigh. And he's like, well, how do you determine when you type in your amount? How do you determine if it's blank amount in grams or blank amount in pounds? I said, dude, your average snake, maybe 100 grams when it's born. Yeah, you have your odd snakes that, like those little tiny brown earth snakes that might be like 2 grams. I got that. So you do have your special occasions, but the average snake is probably about 100 grams. If I type in 100, unless I'm talking about a super, super well-fed reticulated python or a Burmese python that's possibly overweight, then I'm going to assume that 100 is a gram. If I got a snake that's 920 for weight, for example, like right here, I'm going to assume that's 920 grams, not 920 pounds. If I have something that's 10 to 15, I'm going to assume that's pounds, not grams. I don't think I've seen a 15-gram snake. But, so you get the point. You know your information based off of what you're entering. This document's not for somebody else to view and say, well, this is what he had. What's he mean here? Is that pounds or is that grams? You'll know. You'll know what you have, okay? So same thing with length. If you do inches, if you do add feet to it for your bigger snakes, you'll have inches / feet. And I might update that in my next version because it does make sense. And you'll know what you have. You'll know if you mean 15 inches or 15 feet because you only breed Burmese pythons. And this one's an adult. You'll know that 15 feet's more. Like if you look at the, let's see up here, the hatch date, and it says like 05, more likely it's not a 15-inch snake. So you get the point. Enough of that, beating a dead horse. So then we have other things like this. You have feed date, food type, food weight, which is very important, accepted, denied, or regurged, defecate, urate, shed, cleaned, weight, measured, length. And I'll explain each of these in detail, and every sheet is the same way. And majority of the stuff is drop-down menu. The dates are not drop-down menu because there's so many dates that it could be. Okay. Once again, the format is day, month, year, month being partially spelled out. I'm looking into an option of adding a calendar for a drop-down, so you can click and just choose the date, but it's really a pain in the butt. So that may change later on, I don't know. So if the day you feed the snake, that's the date you put there. What type of food? Now I have a drop-down menu for the type of food. In this case, I have rabbit, but I have NA. I don't know why you put NA, but just in case you need to, put NA. Rat, soft-furred rat, mouse, rabbit, chicken, guinea pig, pig, quail, and other. Other being maybe a hamster or a gerbil. I can add the specifics later on, but this one's really based off of me. Well, actually, it's not based off of me because I don't really have mice, rats, and rabbits. That's all I feed. So I added a few more for everybody else so they get an example of how I did it. But you could add more, and that's going to be in the drop-down option, which I will show you in a little bit. So right there you have other. Now, if you want to just keep it as is and not have to edit it, you can just keep choosing other. Like, let's say you only feed hamsters to all of your ball pythons, then you can keep it as is and just keep selecting other because you already know what that food is. Too easy. Food weight is not a drop down because weights vary so much, and once again we use grams or pounds or whatever the food might be. So this is important. I would weigh your food. And if you notice for food, I'm going to back up, and the reason I have food weight versus and food type, and here's why I have that, because I did have this drop-down menu where it said like pinkies, fuzzies, hoppers, pups, small, medium, large, extra large, extra large, jumbo. But that list became so freaking huge when you base each of these animals and their growth. That's what I'm looking for. The growth chart, it becomes way too big. So now I just chose the basic animal, and then when you put the weight in there, that's determining. I could look at your chart and see that you have a 3 gram 3 gram rat, and I could automatically know that, oh well, then he's got like fuzzy. Okay, so that's why I add the weight in there, because with those two combined, it makes it a little more specific, and it also identifies the specific type of food you're feeding, not just the species of food. Alright, so the accepted, denied, and regurgitated. There's 3 options for you all. So that's a drop-down menu. There's 5 in the drop-down menu. NA. I like to use the NA. Here's why I put NA in there. For example, I bought a snake, and she's being shipped. I already put her data in here. Okay? But I don't have real data for her. So I use the NA option, because that way I have the line filled out, and up here in the reference area, it will show some form of information, but it's not the true and accurate, so it says NA. That's why I have the NA in there. As far as what they did with their food, I use other because it just gives you another option. I don't know what they would do besides accept, deny, and regurg, except maybe if you want to annotate, and this is where you can add little notes, but you want to say other because it killed the food, but it did not eat the food. Anything dealing with the feeding patterns, you want to make sure you keep track of. If you even give, because most people, I fed my snake today, but it didn't eat, so I'm not going to put that in my records. No, you should, because you put the feed date, the type, and then the weight, and then denied. That way you can show a pattern. You can see your patterns, or your battle rhythms of your snakes, and see how often it goes off of feeding, and to see if you have to change your feeding schedules, or look for that pattern within that time period of that year on when your snake might go off of eating. It's very important to know your snake that way. So denied is an important one. Regurg, of course, is when your snake eats and it spits it back out. Okay, so in this case the snake accepted, so we clicked on accepted. Defecate and urate section, very important as well. People are like, why do you care when your snake pees or poops? I mean, you keep track of your own? No. But I do of theirs because it can give you signs of health problems, and you could also know, because let's face it, we spot clean our cage and then we clean the cage. By viewing this over a month up to a year and plus, you start seeing that battle rhythm of the pee and the pooping. So you know if my snake poops once a month, or correction, once a week, and let's say, oh shit, it's 2 weeks and my snake hasn't pooped. It's 3 weeks, my snake hasn't pooped. This is not common. There might be an issue here. I might need to soak them. I might need to increase the temperature. There's a lot of factors in the pooping and the peeing, and the patterns of when it poops and pees. I use the term pee, which is urate, but it's not really pee. Okay, point is though, you can see the patterns of how it's going to the bathroom to determine if there's any issues with your snake. Shed date, same thing. It's not drop down because it's a date, but every time your snake sheds, you just update the date for that. Cleaned, that's based off of you. I just put cleaned. I didn't put the type of cleaning, although there are various types of cleaning: once a week, every 2 weeks, once a month. But this is just your clean date. If you spot clean, put it in there. If you fully clean, put it in there. It's not going to hurt, showing that you really cleaned your snake's cage. The weight, of course, like I said, is done in grams and pounds. This snake in general is 920. Wow, it's a lot of pounds. No, obviously it's grams. And then I have measured. Measured is the day that I measured the weight or the length. Correction, when I measure the weight and or the length. So if I measure today just for length, I'm going to change the measured date. If I measure for weight, I'm going to change the measured date. In this case, my wife put, we just got our scale in, So she got me some weights on weights on these snakes, but we haven't measured them yet as far as length. Now here's the cool thing. Y'all ready for this? I love this. I'm gonna let's say this is the 21st of February when all this information was put in, right? Now, unfortunately, she didn't have the scale when she fed this rabbit, so I don't have a weight for my food. Sorry, but I will on the next one. So let's go to this block here. Let's say she fed the snakes again on the, because this snake's fat and loves to eat. Let's say she fed him on the 23rd. I put in 23 Feb to 1/3, and you'll see like, oh shit, that date doesn't match the format you have. Well, when you click off of it, it automatically changes to the proper format. Wow, like how that works? Alright, so the dates automatically change to the proper format. Drop down menu. Let's say my wife decides that she's going to feed this pig a pig. Okay? So I put in pig. Food weight. Let's go with 2 pounds. Just for fun and games here. Now, you see what I did there, right? I put actual 2 pounds. And the reason being is because some of this information down here in the bottom is up top in the quick reference, some is not. The food weight is not up top here. So I put pounds next to the 2. That way we just specify the actual amount of that food. And let's say this little piggy actually accepted. So I drop down menu, click on selected. And just because my snake is a regular freaking snake and loves the crap, I'm going to put in. Now, real fast, because here's the point where it gets really interesting. If you can see this part right here, I know it's probably a little blurry, so I'll read it to you. The feed date is 23 Feb. The poop date is 19 Feb. The shed date, because I have NA in the shed date, it automatically fills in for 30 December 1899. Don't be confused about that date. Don't try to change that date manually. What I'm getting at is these dates up here and this information up here is automatically entered when I enter it down below. And when you put it on the next line, it automatically updates to the newest one. So even if I have a year's worth of information and I entered information today, that information will be updated automatically for today's date. Alright, so defecate, I'm going to say, because he poops a lot, he pooped like, the day after, because he ate on the 21st. Shed, I'm going to put, let's say he shed the day after that, so 25 Feb. Okay. I'm sorry, this defecate date, I didn't put the year, so it didn't automatically change the format. You gotta make sure you put day, month, year. And clean, because he pooped on the 25th, guess what happened? Oh, I don't need help and support. So because he pooped on the 25th, I had to clean his cage on the 25th. So there we go. And I figured out what the heck. Let's measure him. See if he gained any weight after he pooped or lost any weight after he pooped. Let's say he ate that 2-pound rabbit and he pooped out. Let's say he, gained an ounce. So 921. By the way, when I say he, I mean she, because I'm definitely looking at a female right now. And I measured it the same day that I cleaned the cage and did everything else. So let's put 25 Feb 1/3. And the length, she's a nice sized girl. So let's put her at 16. I'm not measuring for her. We're gonna put her at 16. Obviously not feet, because she's a blood python, or correction, a Borneo python. So now what I want you to look at is once I click off of that, holy crap, look up here. Feed date 23 Feb, defecate date 24 Feb, shed date 25 Feb, measure date 25 Feb, length 16, weight 921, and enclosure clean date 25 Feb. So all that information I just put in, re-updated up here. Let's say, because we're doing it in inches, let's say she's 16 and a half inches. I put 16.5. Why do I keep doing that? Okay, 16.5. When I click off of it, look at that. 16.50 inches. Alright, so I'm going to go. Actually, I'll just keep going. I just won't save this information when I'm done. So, point being is that all the information that you type in below when you go to the next line, as long as it's valid dates, don't put 29 February because it's not going to happen unless it's a leap year. Don't put 30 February because it doesn't exist, so it's not going to work. Let's see what else is important. So you'll see your quick reference latest data actually does change with the information below. And like I said, now that I'm reviewing this, my next version I'm probably going to go inches/feet, as you know, as a measurement. I like that idea. Thinking ahead for you all that have the big snakes out there, the top 5. Now, we're going to talk about the picture. I have my pictures in the example one, and so you'll see my picture when you have it. This is rather simple. I say it's rather simple when I talk about doing this in Microsoft. In Microsoft, I right-click and I just click on Change Picture, and then I choose the picture that I want to put in. Y'all might have to give me some time, because I need to find out. I'm going to try something right now. I clicked on Insert, Picture from File. Now this is when I clicked on this picture over here. I made sure I highlighted that first. I'm just going to choose a random picture. Okay, that obviously did not work, because that actually moved. That brought in a whole new picture. Okay, so what you can do, alright, this is what I'm going to suggest. I don't see the option to change picture. I'm sure it's in there, but I apologize. I'm not that familiar with OpenOffice versus the Microsoft. I just want to give you another option so you didn't have to buy any Microsoft products. But when I clicked on Insert up top and then drop down to Picture and then from File, I brought in a new picture. And then I can click on these little corners and arrows and stuff. I could resize it to the size I want. And then I just can slide it right over top of the this is crazy. I'm learning as I'm teaching. You can slide it right over top of the other picture. There you go. Look at that. It's a new picture added. There you go. Alright, so I gave you the option of being able to change the picture there. Like I said, I apologize for not knowing exactly how to change it versus adding a new one. But there you go, add a new one. Now let's talk about this up top above the picture. It's very important because it's on your data sheet. It's all in all these tabs down here. This is how I make my tabs. I use that information to make these tabs. The red and the black is just so you can see that I have 4 identifiers, okay, based off of 2 things per. The Bravo Oscar, BO, is for Borneo. Okay, that's what I use for Borneo. That's my snake species. BLs are bloods. I use BP for ball python. I use RB for rosy boa. You can use whatever you want to identify your species. The next 2 digits, 0, 1. You'll see 0, 1. You'll see 1, 0. Self-explanatory. If I have 1 male snake and no female snakes, I have 1.0 of that species. If I have 1 male, 1 female, I have 1.1. If I have no males and 1 female, I have 0.1. Male first, female second. So that's what I utilize for this. 0, 1 is female. 1, 0 is male. Too easy. If you don't know, 0, 0. Alright? The next one is the year that it was born. In this case, it's an 11. You can use 12, 13, so on and so forth. That's for the year. And then the last 2 digits is just the number of that amount of snakes I have in that year, that species, that sex. So this is Bravo Oscar 011101. If I get another Borneo female from 2011, she would be BO011102. And that's important when I breed. And then when I that's how I'm going to identify my clutches as well. I haven't figured out exactly how I want to do it yet. But like this year would be, it'd be like if it was a female from a clutch, it'd be Bravo Oscar 0111 1301, second one 02, third 03, so on and so forth. Same with the males. The only thing that I need to work on identifying is based on clutches. So I might add another identifier, like another letter on the end. That way it says like Alpha or Bravo or Charlie, A, B, or C, determining like clutch 1, clutch 2, clutch 3. Alright, so that's what I might do, is do the clutches by number, or correction, by letter.